Two Russian former soldiers have returned home after more than a year in a Ukrainian jail. These are the pictures actually from the airport earlier, showing the moment they were greeted by their wives. It was their first meeting in more than 12 months. Big emotional experience, and of course, especially when you're young. Their release was part of a prisoner swap deal between Moscow and Kiev yesterday. Their names, Yevgeny Yerofeev and Alexander Alexandrov. They were seized last May. Kiev claimed they were serving in the Russian special forces. That's something Moscow denied all the way along the line, saying they were in fact volunteer anti-government fighters. Both men were sentenced to 14 years in prison for terrorist activities, and they were tried as non-combatants. The two Russians were swapped then for a Ukrainian former military pilot, Nadezhda Savchenko. She'd been found guilty here in Russia of assisting in the killing of two Russian journalists in East Ukraine. Savchenko had denied all the charges against her along the way. She returned then to Kiev Wednesday, where she was greeted by President Poroshenko. All that quickly grabbed the headlines in Western media that hailed her return a triumph.
Well, after almost 2 years in a Russian prison, a Ukrainian pilot is back home.
Her release is being seen as a political victory for Ukrainian President Petro Poroshenko.
So quite a significant moment there for the pilot, the president and the Ukrainian nation.
To many, she's a hero, and for Ukrainians, her release will only reinforce that.
Some Western leaders have been celebrating her release too, but as Artis Murugaziev explains next, the background of Savchenko's case has been overshadowed, rather, by the hype.
Attention passengers, it's your last chance to jump on this bandwagon. The Savchenko Express is leaving the station.
I am happy and relieved that Ukrainian pilot Savchenko has been freed. We've waited for a long time and worked hard for this good news.
Nadia Savchenko is free and back in Ukraine. Long-awaited good news that the EU celebrates together with her country.
We have been waiting for Nadia Savchenko's freedom for a long time. A good signal and news today for her family, friends and the whole of Ukraine.
She's been found complicit in the murder of two journalists, but she's nevertheless found fans worldwide. What is it about her? Is it the hair? Is it the nationalist zeal? Or is it the attitude?
Ого, камера! Они что, Эйфелевскую башню снимать будут? Горела шина, палала, горела шина, палала, там баррикада, стояла там баррикада. Вот вам моє останнє слово.
And she loves a good fight. Enlisted early on, she ended up in an airborne division. Not satisfying enough, so she went off to fight in Iraq during the US invasion there. Still not enough adrenaline, so she trained for and started flying a military helicopter. And in 2014, Christmas came early for Nadia. This time, the war had come to her. Non-commissioned at the time, she was among the first to sign up. But the good times didn't last.
То есть вы сюда приехали добровольцем?
Так точно.
Что же вам не хватало? Адреналина?
Мне по жизни хватает.
She was captured, apparently, immediately after shells, guided by her, killed two Russian journalists. And now that she's free, she says she's ready to go at it again.
Я хочу вам сказати, так, я не поверну мертвих, але завжди готова покласти своє життя ще раз на полі бою за Україну.
You'd perhaps expect no less, and we asked one of her chief backers, the US State Department, what they thought about their mascot, warmongering.
Well, look, I mean, she was a soldier who was imprisoned while in combat in eastern Ukraine, fighting separatists, fighting Russian troops on the ground at the time. I don't know what her military future holds, but, you know, I think she's speaking from that perspective.
Ukraine's darling G.I. Jane is back, and her thirst for action, it seems, proving infectious.
We've brought back Nadezhda Savchenko, and we'll also bring back the Donetsk region and Crimea under Ukrainian rule.
Maybe you'd expect a little more sensitivity, what with the whole internationally backed peace plan and all. But nah, after all, there's that bandwagon to catch, the Savchenko Express.
Our correspondent Gazdiev there. This is RT International. On the way out for a break, an Israeli human rights organisation tells us why they're speaking out over military abuses against Palestinians.